Hi there. It's time for lesson 12.7, two-way tables. This is Mrs. Trombley again. Alright, what is a two-way table? It's kind of like a regular table, except we get to see a couple of different things at the same time instead of just looking for one relationship here. There's two categories. So a two-way table displays two categories of data collected from the same source, and every entry in the table is called a joint frequency. So frequency is the amount of time something happens. We have joint frequency, that kind of means together. We're talking about more than one. So right here, here's a table. We have students, and we're looking at two things. We're asking the student, did you pass the test, and did you study? So all of these values in here are called joint frequencies. So the values in the table, each entry. So this would mean that 21 students studied and passed, 2 students did not study and pass. 1 student that studied failed, 6 students that did not study failed. So the sums of the rows and columns in a two-way table, those are not called joint frequencies, those are called marginal frequencies. So I just took the table that we just had and added some totals at the end. So what we're going to do is find the totals, and therefore we're finding the marginal frequencies. So if the directions of something said, find the marginal frequencies, I'm asking you to add up each row and column. So right here, the students that passed, this whole row passed. 21 plus 2 is 23. So this tells me the total number of students that passed. The students that failed, 1 plus 6 is 7. So those are the students that failed. If I add up this row, 21 plus 1 is 22. That's all the students that studied for this test. And 2 plus 6 is 8. That's all the students that did not study. Now right here, if you've done everything correctly, when you add up this column and this row, you should get the same amount. So 23 plus 7 is 30. 22 plus 8 is 30. Yes, those should match because this right here gives you the total that were surveyed. So the 30 people in the class were surveyed. This is all of their data. So these are marginal frequencies. The 21, 1, 2, 6, those are called joint frequencies. Okay, so I do need you to know how to make a two-way table. That will be helpful to you. So here I have you randomly survey some students between the ages of 12 and 17. It's important to randomly do your surveys so we know that we're not having data that is set up on purpose the way you want it to be. So the results are shown in these little tally sheets, and you're asked to make a two-way table here. So we have students that ride the bus, and it's set up in number ranges for you. So ages 12 to 13, 14 to 15, 16 to 17. And then we have the ages of students that do not ride the bus, same students that were surveyed, and the amounts for each category. So first off, we need to figure out where to write everyone. I did set up the table for you, but we have two things going on here. We have riding the bus and not riding the bus. And then we also have the ages of the students here. So across the top, the shaded parts, that's for your marginal frequencies. But do you see how there are 3 columns here? That's where I'm going to put the ages because there are 3 categories for that. Over here, there's 2 rows. That's going to be rides the bus, does not ride the bus. So start off by filling out all of your headings here. And these are all students. I don't know if I can fit students in here. I can fit, but I'll try students. You can call them studs if you want. Can't fit. Hee hee. Okay, so filling this out, let's start with rides the bus. So that's going to be this row across, students that ride the bus. So ages 12 to 13, we have 5, 10, 15, 24 students that ride the bus in that age range. In the 14 to 50, it looks like we have 5, 10, 12. 14 to 15 I meant. 16 to 17, 5, 10, 14. Now let's look at does not ride the bus. Ages 12 to 13 that were surveyed, 5, 10, 15, 16 people said, no, I don't ride the bus. 18 people that were 14 to 15 said, oh, I'm sorry, 13 people And 16 to 17, 5, 10, 15, 21 said, nope, I don't ride the bus. So right there, what kind of frequencies did we just list? That is correct, joint frequencies. Now what I would like to do is have us find the marginal frequencies. So I'm going to write the word total here in the shaded portion. Okay, so ages 12 to 13. Down here, this is going to represent all of the people surveyed that were ages 12 to 13. So 24 plus 16 means I interviewed 40 people that were that age group. In the 14 to 15 age range, I talked to 25 people. Well, I didn't really. This is just made up, right? So just roll with it. The 16 to 17 range, I talked to 35 people. So this lets me kind of see, okay, did I ask enough of each people? Did I ask everybody in just the one range? It gives me a total number of students for each range. Over here, when you add these three numbers, you're getting the total number of students that said, yes, I ride the bus. So take 24 plus 12 plus 14, it's 50. 16 plus 13 plus 21 is also 50. So 50 said they ride the bus, 50 said I don't ride the bus. This right here is going to give me the total number of students surveyed. 50 plus 50 is 100. 40 plus 25 plus 35, yes, also 100. So our data matches. So when we surveyed those 100 people, we found 50-50 riding the bus, not riding the bus. And we have a total of 40, 25, and 35 for each category. Now, what we'd like to know, because this is more helpful than saying, hey, 35 people ages 16 to 17 were surveyed. It's better to speak in percents, isn't it? When I give you a quiz back, and let's say it says 28 out of 30, you don't want to know 28 out of 30. You want to know what's my grade, what's my percent. So we're going to figure out the percents of all of this. And it's the same way you always figure out a percent. It's part divided by whole times 100. So again, we have our ages. We have rides the bus, not rides the bus. I'm getting lazy now. These are still our students. And now, instead of giving me that 24, 12, and 13-year-olds ride the bus, I want to know the percent of 12 and 13-year-olds that ride the bus. So to figure out a percent, we just said take part divided by whole times 100. So for the 12 to 13-year-olds, a little formula here, we'll call the part 24, or sorry, n, we'll call it 24 in a minute, out of. When you're trying to figure out what to divide by, you have to figure out how many total were there in this category. Well, if you look up here in this category, it says that 40, 12, and 13-year-olds were surveyed. So if you take part divided by 40 times 100, you're going to get the percent. So for riding the bus, it was 24 out of 40. So take 24 divided by 40 times 100, and you'll get 60%. Now, I don't know about you, but at this point, I'm not going to then take 16 divided by 40 times 100 because I learned something a while back. I learned that when you're dealing with percentages, that they add up to 100. And I know that 60 plus 40 is 100. So I'm going to go ahead and list my 40% because these two numbers should add up to 100%. It's a good idea to check it. Like if this was a quiz, I would take 16 divided by 40 times 100 to make sure I did that first amount right. But you can use those number sense things to help you out. Okay, with ages 14 to 15, you're going to take the part divided by, do you know what? If you said 25, you're right, because I interviewed 25 students in this range. So 12 out of 25 said they rode the bus. When you take 12 divided by 25 and multiply that by 100, you get 48%. At this point, you can go ahead and take 13 divided by 25 times 100, or you can say, hey, 48 plus 52 is 100. For ages 16 to 17, I know that 14 out of 35 said they do ride the bus. So I'm taking the number divided by 35 times 100. So that means 40% said I ride the bus, and that would mean, of course, that 60% do not ride the bus. We'll do some more application kind of problems in class, but for now, good. See you tomorrow.